Kelly makes the point, will you take us to the universe factory? I.e., who created God? If God created all of this, and you said a picture doesn't emerge without there being a painter, well then who created God?
It's got a very simple answer. God is eternal. He is outside of the realm of time. Time is a dimension God created and subjected man to. You and I are bound by time. And because we're in time, logic demands everything must have a beginning and an end. That's how we think, because we're in time. But God dwells in eternity outside of that dimension where there's neither beginning nor end. When we die...
The problem, though, Ray, with that argument is that you were proposing the notion that there is no picture without a painter. You were the one who was proposing the notion there's no creation without a creator. Yet now you're using time and chronology to somehow get out of the fact that we need to know who created the creator. That's what they're asking.
That's what I'm answering. God dwells in eternity where there is neither beginning nor end. That's why when Moses said to God, "What's your name?" and he said, "I am." God is. There's neither past nor present with God. He is in eternity. And when you and I die, we will move out of time into eternity. And there are things we believe in. Space has no beginning and no end. We accept that by faith. You can go a billion miles that way and a billion miles that way, and there's not a brick wall that says the end. So just as we receive that by faith, we just have to trust there's no beginning and end to space. So God is eternal. He dwells outside of a dimension we're in. He dwells in eternity.
Brian, respond to what you've just heard.
There's a lot right now. In relation to Ray's response to
the specific science question.
Exactly. What created God? Well, Ray says, I called you God.
He called me Kirk.
Ray says that God exists outside of time. So he's created this. Basically, the argument that he gave you, he doesn't even believe. Everything needs a creator, except for this one magical thing at the beginning of it that doesn't need a creator. Science has a law, it's called the Third Law of Thermodynamics, that matter or energy can neither be created nor destroyed, that we always have the same amount. The components of our world today, our universe, have always existed. All signs point to the fact that the universe has just always existed and no God is needed to explain it.
Brian's point that you have this philosophy about having a creator, but it breaks down at the point at which you talk about God. And that's fundamentally inconsistent with the argument that you're making.
If you're going to keep going back to the beginning, you've got to go back all the way and say something's got to be infinite. You keep going back and saying, what made that? What made that? The universe is infinite. But you're going to say, who made the universe?
Nothing.
If God can be infinite, why can't the universe be infinite?
Let's just say that cosmology is tentative, because science is tentative. This is not tentative here, what I'm about to show you, that shows that time had a beginning. This is a philosophical argument for the beginning of time. Here's today, there's yesterday, there's the day before yesterday, there's last week. Question, can this line be infinite into the past?
Yes.
How could it be infinite into the past and today have arrived?
It can be infinite if there is no beginning. What we do see is that we now live
Please answer the question. How could today have gotten here if there's an infinite number of days before today?
I believe that we are struggling against inadequacy of the English language, which lets us construct nonsensical questions.
How is it a nonsensical question to say that there can't be an infinite number of days before today for today to have arrived?
I think maybe I can try and address that by saying, can you hand me a piece of this nothing that was before, and we can talk about its properties?
You're sounding like Lawrence Krauss now. No, nothing is non-being. Non-being, nothing.
Do you have a piece of it that we can examine its properties?
No, because nothing is not a piece of anything.
So you're making philosophical assumptions yourself.
Forrest, okay, you don't have an answer, I understand.
My answer was that we don't have evidence of a beginning. That was my answer.
This is evidence of a beginning right here, because for a couple reasons. You can't traverse an infinite number of days to get to today. Secondly, you can't be at the end of an infinite, right? Because an infinite is something that has no end. But here we are at the end of the infinite. Thirdly, you can't add anything to an infinite. But tomorrow we're going to add another day, and the day after that we'll add another day, and the day after that we'll add another day. So there can't be an infinite number of moments before today. By the way, this argument was brought forth by a Muslim philosopher about 800 years ago and has since yet to be answered.
Does God have a beginning then? I mean, wouldn't he have had to have a beginning?
No, because there has to be something that's uncaused and eternal. It's either the universe or something that transcends the universe.
So why couldn't it be the universe?
Because the universe has a beginning for this argument and several others I haven't even talked about yet, as even Stephen Hawking and others have admitted.
But even if the beginning of what we can understand about our universe is the Big Bang, then how do we know that it didn't actually exist before that, but maybe it came to that point of the superheated mass that blew up?
Well, what cosmologists will say is you can't go through a singularity, that a singularity point of infinite density, and if you think about that for a minute, it sounds like a contradiction, and it is, because you go from nothingness to something. So there must be something that transcends the physical world. If space, matter, and time had a beginning, then whatever created it has to be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, personal, and intelligent in order to create. Now, if you're timeless, the second attribute there, do you have a beginning?
No.
No, that's the point. God is not in time. He transcends time, so he didn't have a beginning. He is what Aristotle would call the unmoved mover, or what the Old Testament calls the great I am, the being that just bees. It had no beginning and will have no end.
But why couldn't the universe be that?
Well, potentially it could be. The problem is the evidence shows it isn't.
I mean, all the evidence shows is that at one point there was a superheated mass.
No. The evidence shows that it came from nothing, non-being.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm not familiar with the evidence.
Okay.
And we obviously don't have enough time to.
Right, and then this philosophical argument shows that time can't be infinite. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.